Yeah, what the hell's Monster Squad?
It's us. We're the Monster Squad. What's a squad? It's like Miami Vice, I think.
Some people dismiss it as nothing more than a Goonies ripoff, but there are others, and some of those others are people who work on this very show, who think it's totally boss and underrated. So now, this is happening. Here are 7 things you didn't know about the Monster Squad. Probably.
It's okay, you guys. He's friends with us. Come on, don't be chicken.
First off, we know that it might seem like we're caught in a self-indulgent 80s nostalgia jag here at Things You Didn't Know. In the past few weeks, we've done Predator, The Lost Boys, Masters of the Universe, and with this episode, yet another 80s favorite. But you probably didn't realize that all of these movies just hit the 30th anniversary milestone, which, in a way, is making us think that the summer of 1987 may have been the best summer ever for cult movie classics. At the very least, it was a big summer for Shane Black. He's in Predator, and he co-wrote The Monster Squad. Anyway, Predator came out in June of '87, The Lost Boys was out in July, and then Masters of the Universe and Monster Squad both hit in August. In fact, they came out just a week apart, with Masters of the Universe on August 7th and The Monster Squad on the 14th. It was a golden age of sorts, when a kid's movie could show a 15-year-old making silver bullets in shop class because he needed to kill a goddamn werewolf.
Bang.
Meanwhile, what do we have now? The fucking Emoji Movie.
Sorry, emoticons. I hate knocking over the elderly here. Let me help.
Oh, my colon!
That's enough. Moving on. Like we said in our first thing, Shane Black co-wrote The Monster Squad with the film's director, Fred Dekker. But despite the fact their names are literally Black and Dekker, they weren't actually a team. Since they weren't a writing team, and rather they were just 2 writers on the same project, they pretty much never worked on the script directly together at all. In fact, there's only one line in the entire movie that Black and Dekker actually came up with while they were in the same room.
Maybe we can be like Math Squad instead, you know. Do math problems, stay home, or Nature Squad. We could look at rocks, collect birds, not be dead.
That was it. Fat Kid's riff about looking at rocks and collecting birds. You know what? I realized after playing it for you guys that was kind of anticlimactic. Probably would have been a better story if it had been when the Fat Kid says, "Wolfman's got nards," but you know what? I can't change the past.
Wolfman's got nards. Come
Moving on.
Freeze! You move it, I'll kill you!
Here's a fun thing about this showdown scene between Dracula and Del Crenshaw. See that house behind Del? You know the one that's totally out of focus? That's Murtaugh's house from Lethal Weapon, which, by the way, was also written by Shane Black, and also came out in 1987, in March, in case you were curious. This is starting to turn into 7 things you didn't know about Shane Black, or like 9 things you didn't know about 1987, so let's just move on.
Thanks a lot, Pete.
Let's talk about the swamp monster Gillman, because he was played by Shane Black. No, not really. He was actually played by Tom Woodruff Jr., who truly suffered for his art in this role. First off, there's the fact that the eye openings in his costume were positioned in such a way that it was essentially like trying to look through 2 tiny keyholes that were 2 or 3 inches off to the side of your eyes. Basically, he couldn't see anything. But that's nothing compared to the fact that they would glue him into the costume, including the head, so that there wouldn't be any visible seams on camera. That meant he couldn't eat, drink, or use the bathroom, or really even breathe normally, and he would have to deal with it for the entire shoot day. FYI, a typical shoot day on a movie is about 12 hours. So, next time you watch The Monster Squad, think about what Tom Woodruff went through, just so you could get your jollies, you sick son of a bitch.
Hey, Fat Kid. Good job.
My name is Horace.
We've covered earlier that Murtaugh apparently lives across the street from the Crenshaws, but you probably didn't know that they all apparently live on Wisteria Lane. At least going by this church they do. This is the same church that they use on Desperate Housewives, which also happens to be the same church used at the end of the original Ocean's 11, which means that that church has been on the studio's backlot for a crazy long time. By the way, the diner in this scene is also the car dealership that Charlton Heston goes to in The Omega Man. It was just sitting around on the Warner Brothers backlot, and they turned it into a diner for Monster Squad. Boom! Bonus thing you didn't know. Remember how when we first meet Count Dracula, he's hanging upside down as a bat to sleep instead of sleeping in his coffin like a normal Dracula? Ever wonder why Dracula sleeps this way in the Monster Squad?
I give up.
Well, so does writer-director Fred Dekker. By his own admission, there's no real explanation for it besides the fact that it simply wouldn't have looked as cool to introduce Dracula by having him crawl out of his coffin. The bat thing was obviously way cooler, and that's the only explanation they needed. Last thing. The Monster Squad is a pretty lean movie at just 82 minutes. It was so lean that they actually slowed the crawl of the end credits to help pad the runtime, and, to further honor all of the hardworking people who contributed to the film, of course. Also, bonus thing, to keep the movie so short, a lot of things had to be cut, and one of those things was Screech. Dustin Diamond had a small part in the Monster Squad that was filmed for this scene, but he wound up getting cut because the filmmakers somehow knew he'd grow up to be a total douche. Okay, that might not be totally accurate. Fact is, the scene just didn't work and wasn't worth trying to save, so it wound up on the cutting room floor. But you won't find it on any Blu-ray special features anytime soon because, and I'm being handed a note, no one gives a shit. That's gonna do it for us today, but hit the thumbs up if you've been digging all of the movie anniversaries we've been celebrating.
I dig it, man.
Hell, we might even do a belated Lethal Weapon if you guys would be into it. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to CineFix for more true-ish things about movies, and often Shane Black, right here on Things You Didn't Know.
Meeting adjourned.